I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up, no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh.
Hello everyone, how you doing? I am teacher Jessica from Cebu Normal University. Today, we will be discussing about problem solving involving special products and factoring. In this world, whether you like it or not, whether you become a mother, a father, a businessman, a teacher, or even a policeman, problems are everywhere. People may think that you cannot overcome your problems, but with determination and critical thinking skills, we can and we will solve our own problems. Even the best musicians and dancers have coaching along and lots of practice in order for them to be successful in their career. So that same goes with problem solving. We need to be exposed with different problems in order for us to be a good in problem solving. To start with, let us first answer our first problem. We have find the consecutive positive numbers such that the sum of their squares is equal to 113. The first step in solving a problem is to understand the problem itself. Of course, in understanding a problem, we have to understand the words that are being used in the problem. So let's first define what is the consecutive numbers. The consecutive numbers are numbers which are following each other without any interruption. For example, we have 1 and 2. These numbers are consecutive numbers because they are following each other without any interruptions. These numbers are counting numbers. Of course, we count 1, 2, 3, 4. Another example, 1 and 3. These numbers are also consecutive numbers because they are following each other. These are odd numbers, so 1 and 3. There are no other odd numbers between 1 and 3. So now, we already understand what is a consecutive numbers. Let's now have the variable that would represent the two consecutive numbers. We let x be the first number. And we let x plus 1 be our second number. Question, why do we have to represent our second number as the quantity of x plus 1? It's because since we have this x as our first number and we're finding the consecutive number of x, we need to have a number which is greater than or less than our x. So since we are finding a positive number, we have to use the greater than. That's why it is the quantity of x plus 1. Now, we already have our representations for the numbers. Now, let's understand the problem deeply. We have the sum of their squares. So, x and our second number, which is x plus 1. And this sum denotes a addition. So, we will use the addition plus. And then we equate these numbers as equal to 113. And don't forget that the numbers are being squared. So we have x squared and then the quantity of x plus 1 squared. Now, we will have the multiplication. So we have x squared, copy the positive side, and then recall your skills in special products, which is to expand this expression. X plus 1 and the quantity of x plus 1 and equate it to 113. And now, we will use the FOIL method in this expression. So FOIL method again is to multiply first the first terms. So x times x is equal to x squared. And then the outer terms, which are x and 1, which is equal to x. And then inner terms terms which is 1 and x, which is equal to x again. And the last terms which are 1 and 1, which is equal to 1. And equate again to 113. Now, we will combine the terms which are alike. So we have x squared plus x squared is equal to 2x squared. And then x plus x is equal to 2x. And then 1 plus 1 equal to 113. Now, we will find, or we will add the additive inverse of 113 in order for us to make this right side of the equation equal to 0. So 2x squared plus 2x plus 1 minus the additive inverse, which is negative 113. And then, of course, this side, minus 113. So let's operate. 2x squared plus 2x, 1 minus 113 is negative 112. And then 113 minus 113 is equal to 0. So in this case, we will find the simplest form of this equation in order for us to have, or to factor the expression properly. So we have divided this equation into 2. So 2x squared divided by 2 is equal to x squared. 2x divided by 2 is equal to x. Negative 112 divided by 2 is equal to 56. Let's find the factors of this expression. So we have the quantity of x plus 8 times the quantity of x minus 7 equate to 0. Now, why is it we have x plus 8 and the quantity of x minus 7 as our factors? It's because when we multiply the last terms of these factors, which is positive 8 and negative 7, it is equal to negative 56. And when we add the product of 8x and negative 7x, it is equal to positive x. So the next step is to equate both factors into 0. So x plus 8 is equal to 0 and x minus 7 is equal to 0. And let's find the value of x. So x is equal to negative 8 and x is equal to positive 7. Since we are trying to find the positive number, we will use the value of x, which is positive, and it is positive 7. So our value for x is positive 7. Now, to find the two numbers, let's substitute the value of x. So we have x as our first number, and x is equal to 7. So our second number, which is the quantity of x plus 1. So we have x plus 1 is equal to x. No, it's 7 plus 1, which is equal to 8. So our second number is 8. So the two consecutive positive numbers is 7 and 8. Lastly, to check if our answers are correct, we go back to our first equation, which is x squared plus the quantity of x plus 1 squared is equal to 113. So our x is 7 squared plus 7 plus 8 squared is equal to 113. So 7 squared is equal to 49. And then 8 squared is equal to 64. 49 plus 64 is equal to 113. As you can see, both sides of the equation is 113 and they are equal. Therefore, our answers are correct. So let's proceed to our second example. We have the difference between two numbers is 9 and the product of the numbers is 162. Find the two numbers. Now, the first step of solving a problem is to understand the problem. The problem here is to find the two numbers. What are the two numbers? So we need to find a representation of these numbers. We let x as our first number. And we let y as our second number. Now, why is it we need to represent our two numbers as different variables? As you can see in the problem, the difference of two numbers is 9. And if the numbers are the same, of course, it will not be equal to 9. So probably, they are different. That's why we are using different variables. So now, we have x and y. In the problem, it is difference. So difference conveys and subtraction. So we subtract x, our first number, minus our second number, and equate it to 9. So next is the product of the numbers is 162. When we say product, it conveys multiplication. So we need to multiply these numbers and equate it to 162. We now have x times y is equal to 162. Now, this is our first equation. And this is our second equation. So, in order for us to find the two numbers, we need to express the first equation, express x in terms of y. So we have here x minus y is equal to 9. In order for us to express, and then 0. Now, let's recall your factory skills. Factory skills? Am I sure? So we have here x minus y. The additive inverse of negative y is positive y. So, plus y and then 9 plus y. So now, let us operate. So x, negative y plus y is equal to 0. And 9 plus y. So we now have our representation for the value of x. X is equal to 9 plus y. Now, let us use this representation or an expression that represents the value of x to this equation, our second equation. So we have x times y is equal to 162. So our value for x is 9 plus y. So we substitute this value of x to this equation. So x, which is 9 plus y, times y is equal to 162. Now, let's use the distributive property of multiplication that you have learned from the previous lesson. So, we multiply y to y, and we also need to multiply y to 9. Now, 9 times y is equal to 9y. And y times y is equal to y squared. Equated to 162. So in this case, we need to use the addition property of equality, which is to add both sides the additive inverse of positive 162. So we now have 9y plus y squared minus 162 is equal to 162 minus 162. So let's write this expression into its form, which is y squared plus 9y minus 162, and then 162 minus 162 is 0. So let's try to factor out the factors of this equation, which are y plus 18 and the quantity of y minus 9. Why is it the factors of this equation is y plus 18 and y minus 19? It's because when we multiply the last terms of these factors, which are positive 18 and negative 18, it is equal to negative 162. And now, we need to equate both factors equals to 0. So we have y plus 18 is equal to 0 and y minus 9 is equal to 0. So we can now find the value of y. We have y is equal to negative 18 and y is equal to positive 9. Since we are trying to find a product which is positive, we need to have the Now, we need to equate both factors equals to 0. So we have y plus 18 is equal to 0 and y minus 9 is equal to 0. So we can now find the value of y. So our y sub 1 is equal to negative 18 and our y sub 2 is equal to positive 9. So you can see we have two answers for this, for the value of. So let's substitute this, but our second value for y. So x minus y is equal to 9. X minus 9 is equal to 9. So x is equal to 9 plus 9. Is equal to 18. So if our value of y, if y is equal to 9, then our x is equal to 18. Let's check it for the second equation. So xy is equal to 162. X is 18 and then y is 9. So 18 times 9 is equal to 162. So our answer is correct because they are equals. So either you use the y sub 1 or the y sub 2, both. Now let's proceed to our third example. We have the base of a triangle is quantity 4x minus 2 units, while the height is the quantity of x squared plus x minus 10 units. What is the polynomial that will correspond to its area? And find the area of such triangle if x is equal to 4. The first thing to do is to recall what is the formula in finding the area of the triangle. So the area of finding the formula of finding the area of the triangle is A is equal to 1/2 of its base times the height. So we will let the x as our base and y as our height. So we now have 1/2 x times y. So now our value, the representation of the base of the triangle is the quantity of 4x minus 2. So we have 1/2 times the quantity of 4x minus 2 and then the height, which is the quantity of x squared plus x minus 10. X squared plus x minus 10. So we will now use the distributive property of multiplication, by which we will distribute the terms in the first factor to the terms in the second factor. We have 4x distributed to x squared, and then 4x will distributed to x, and 4x will also be distributed to negative 10. And then the second term for the first factor, which is negative 2, this negative 2 should be distribute the second term of our first factor. So we have negative 2 distributed to distributed to x, and negative 2 will also be distributed to negative 10. So, we will now proceed to multiplication. We will now have 1/2 times 4x times x squared. And then copy the positive sign. Plus 4x times x. And then 4x times negative 10. And then we'll proceed to our second term for our second factor. So, copy negative sign. 2 times x squared. And then negative 2 times x. And lastly, we have negative 2 times negative 10. So now, let's proceed to multiplication. 1/2 times 4x times x squared is equal to 4x cubed. And then 4x times x is equal to 4x squared. 4x times negative 10 is equal to negative 40x. Negative 2 times x squared is equal to negative 2x squared. Negative 2 times x is equal to negative 2x. And negative 2 times negative 10 is equal to positive 20. Let's proceed to, or let's combine the terms which are alike. We have 1/2 times 4x cubed. As you can see, there are no other terms which are a cube. So let's just put it here, 4x cubed. And then 4x squared minus 2x squared is equal to positive 2x squared. 2x squared. Negative 40x minus 2x is equal to negative 42x. And then plus 20. So again, since we still have 1/2 here outside, we will distribute 1/2 to each of the terms inside this bracket. So we have 1/2 times negative 4x cubed plus 1/2 will also be distributed to 2x squared, and then 1/2 will also be distributed to negative 42x, and 1/2 will also be distributed to 20. So now, 1/2 times 4x cubed is equal to 2x cubed. And then 2x squared times 1/2 is equal to x squared. And then negative 42x times 1/2 is equal to negative. So now, let's substitute the value of y to our first equation, which is x minus y is equal to 9. Since we have our y sub 1, which is negative 18, we will substitute negative 18 equal to 9. So, x minus, you change the sign because it is negative, so it's become positive 18 and 9. So, x here is equal to negative 18 plus 9. So, our first value of x is negative 18. So, when if y is equal to negative 18, our x will also be equal to
Uy, ano, nag-negative 18 ka?
plus 4 squared minus 21 times 4 plus 10. So 2 times 4 cubed. So what is 4 times 4 times 4? So it is 64. 2 times 64 plus 4 squared. What is 4 squared? It is 16. And then negative 21 times 4 is equal to 84. 84 plus 10. So now, Multiply 2 times 64. 2 times 64 is equal to 128. And then 16 minus 84 plus 10 is equal to 58. 128 plus 58 is equal to 186. So the area of the triangle when x is equal to 4 is 186. For more problems, just click the link below. And I hope you have understand something from today's discussion. Again, I am Teacher Jessica at your service.
I'm only one call away. I'll be there to save the day. Superman got nothing on me. I'm only one call